Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Storyteller's Corner. I'm your host, Joshua T. Calkins Truigy, also known as Barnes Sidious. I have spoken several times about the platform / service or site Substack.com. I've been using Substack for just shy of 5 years. I was an early adopter and have primarily used that platform as an avenue for sharing out short stories, snippets of some of my own commercial genre fiction works. I have reproduced some of my older novels on there in their entirety in chapter-by-chapter post format. I've done quite a few observational articles on the platform as well. I have long stood by Substack and have enjoyed using it. I do have my issues with the platform, especially as it continues to grow and implement more multimedia facets and avenues of producing content and promoting one's Substack presence. There's not very many large named individuals or personalities who I routinely follow on Substack. One of them, however, is Peter Bogghosian, one of the 3 contributors of the much ballyhooed and famous grievance studies, along with James Lindsay and Helen Pluckrose, a kind of social experiment that I personally found to be both hilarious and quite revealing. If you're unfamiliar, I would highly recommend you do a brief search on your search of preference, but look up Peter Bogghosian, Helen Pluckrose, grievance studies, or James Lindsay. He's one of the prominent contributors to that social experiment project. Just the other day, Mr. Bogghosian posted one of his free text posts on his Substack talking about the downward spiral of the publishing industry, the dangers of sensitivity readers, and the constant, ever-present search of progressives hunting down people who do not ideologically line up with them in lockstep, attacking other progressives for not being progressive enough, and demonizing anybody to the right of Mao Zedong. And after reading his article, I left a lengthy comment kind of snarling and growling at him and saying, "Welcome to the fucking party, buddy." Myself and a ton of my colleagues in the small or indie press genre fiction arena have been howling about this problem to the moon and heavens beyond for the last 10 to 12 years. That this has been getting incrementally worse and worse and worse. But a big part of the problem is that we are, to borrow the phrase, and I hate this term, from Nicholas fucking Diorio, we are, quote, glopshido whomegalols. We are whos. Most of us are unknown characters or unknown quantities. We are not household names. We are not big enough presences in the collective consciousness to have any effect, to have anybody actually listen to what we're saying and hear the warning sirens that we've been trying to sound for a decade and more. I have personally pointed out this problem in no less than 5 or 6 different articles on my Substack, probably about a half a dozen videos on my YouTube and Rumble channels, but I am a relative nobody. We've been howling about this, trying to reach out to the big names in academia and literature and publishing, folks who are well represented and have a presence, but we have for years come up against the brick wall of dismissal of, who are you? Why should I care about this? Because it's not good for those big names' brands to acknowledge that some small nobody shitter, as we're referred to, was waving the flag and saying, hey, there's a fucking problem here. Nobody cared to listen to us because we were nobodies. And I mentioned in my comment on his post, yes, I realize that this sounds, or is coming across as resentful. And that's because it is resentful. I am feeling, and many of my colleagues in the small and independent genre fiction arena are feeling quite resentful at this point. Because this is not just about what's happening to us. We're used to getting rejected from publishing houses and from literary agents. We all are very familiar that there is a vanishingly slim possibility of us ever achieving the kind of success that we have dreamed of for years. I have mentioned this. All right, many of us, we're a little deluded. We don't know our place in the order of things. I, however, am well aware that I will probably never achieve the top 3% of skill, ability, and influence as a storyteller, as a creator of art in the written word. That's probably always going to be my place in this world. Okay. God did not call on me to be a successful storyteller. He called on me to be a father, to be a husband, and to tell stories, in that order of importance. He never promised me financial success or fame. That was never promised. But I am keeping up my end of the oath, my duty. I have to have the integrity to honor that commitment. But what feels worse than any rejection from any agent or literary publishing house is the collective dismissal that myself and so many of my colleagues have gotten from these big names and from these more influential people when we have tried to raise the alarm that something detrimental is happening in our beloved art, in the realm of publishing writ large, whether it be in fiction or nonfiction. This is not about our personal independent projects. It's about something that is demolishing the entirety of the art form in its current embodiment. We're not just trying to save our own skins. We've been trying to howl for help for the entirety of the fiction and nonfiction arena, the art of the written word itself. And because we are not big names, because we don't have a huge platform, we have been roundly ignored. That's where the resentment comes from. It's not just what these people have done in batting us individually aside. It's that they didn't stop to think, oh, this is affecting the entire field. You fucks. If you had a moment of self-reflection to realize this isn't about our own fragile individual egos. It's about something greater than any one of us. It's about the entirety of the field. But no, because it's always boils down to, well, what have you done for me lately? Or what can you do for my numbers? What can you do for my profile? You pushed us aside and said, I don't care, I got mine. That is why we have come to resent you, and why so many of us, myself included, have become completely demoralized and stopped raising the flag as often as we might have once upon a time, or would want to. Because most of us have come to the realization we're banging our head against a brick wall in the fever dream idea that we might knock a hole in it. No, we won't. Because you people won't listen. Because we can't help your numbers. Get fucked. You deserve what's happening now. I don't want it to happen. The art of the written word does not deserve this. But when we were trying to raise the shields and champion it, you were telling us there was no problem. Because it wasn't affecting you. And now it is, and now you're scared. Now you're starting to realize there might be a bigger problem here than you knew of before. Well, we were trying to warn you, and you didn't listen.